In one of the previous sections, we already looked at a type called meta of t, which allows you to attach metadata to your components. But now we're going to try and attach the metadata to the components using a more natural way, which is using the .NET attributes functionality. Now for this, we need additional packages. So let me show you the ones that you'll need for this particular example. So what we need, in addition to, of course, Artifact itself, is we need Artifact extras attribute metadata. And this actually depends on the Artifact meth functionality. So these are the two packages that you'll need. And having installed them, what you can do is you can start attaching metadata to classes. So let me show you how that would work. First of all, you have to define some kind of attribute. So for example, I'm going to define the age attribute for displaying artwork. So we're going to have a class called age metadata attribute, and it's going to inherit from attribute, and that's an ordinary attribute in the system namespace, nothing special here. So we'll have public int age, like so, and in addition we'll have a constructor which initializes the age, and that's pretty much it. So now what we do is we add an attribute to this attribute called metadata attribute, and this is from system component model composition, so you can see that it's a meth thing. Okay, and now that we have this, we can define some sort of interface for some kind of artwork, and we'll have a single method called display here. And then, of course, we'll have different kinds of artwork. So, for example, you can have a century artwork that is 100 years old, and this is an I artwork. So here we can implement the display. I'll just console.writeLine something here. So we'll say displaying a century-old piece, like so. And then you can take your attribute, the age metadata attribute, and you can actually attach it to this class. So you can say age metadata and put 100 as the age in here. And you can have different kinds of classes. So for example, if I have millennial artwork, which is also an I artwork, and here we'll once again implement the display function, and let's put something different in here. Console.writeLine displaying a really old piece of art. There we go. So this can be decorated with another age metadata attribute with a value of 1000. So what you can do now is you can build up an art display, for example. So let's suppose we have a class called art display, and this is going to refer to a piece of artwork, and we make the constructor for it. But in the constructor, what we can do is we can actually filter out only the artwork which has a particular chunk of metadata. And for this, what we do is we put the metadata filter here. So we say metadata filter, and we're going to filter out all the metadata which has the age equal to 100, for example. And you put that right in front of the constructor argument, and then let's add some kind of display method which simply calls art.display, like so. Okay, so having made this, let's see how we can actually get Artifact to play along and to inject the correctly filtered by the metadata items into your constructor. So var b equals new container builder, and then what we do is we register a module. So we need to register a module which is called attribute metadata module. So this is coming from Artifact extras attribute metadata, as you can see here. So this is the module that you need in order to be able to actually add support for this functionality. And from here on out, all you have to do is you just register the type as normal. So b register type will have century artwork as I artwork, like so. And in addition, well, we just need another one, which is the millennial artwork. So millennial artwork here. We also need to register the type b dot register type related to the art display. There we go. And then using var c equals b.build, what we do is we display the actual artwork. So we say c.resolve art display dot display. So there is just one thing that we need to add to all of this before we can run it, and that is an additional clause in here. So all we have to do is we have to put a dot here and say with attribute filtering. And this enables the attribute filtering that we've implied in here. So we've added the metadata filter in here. And now what we can do is we can execute this. And in the current setup, I'm displaying a century-old piece because I'm specifying the metadata filter at 100. And if I put it at 1000, then we are displaying a really old piece. So this is a way of filtering components based on the metadata which is attached to them using attributes, and yes, it does rely on the managed extensibility framework.